Good morning, church. So here's our devotional for Thursday, April 23rd. We begin Proverbs 26 today, and we hit some intriguing verses, at least for this guy, that we're going to spend some time on, and some really cool commentary from Van Leeuwen on those particular verses as well in this broader context. Reminder that starting back with Proverbs 25, we began what is called the kind of this second portion of the wise sayings of Solomon. So we're talking about fools and court life. And what it gets into today is how do we know how we're interacting with people, who to listen to, who to ignore, or I shouldn't say whom to listen to, but whom to confront and whom to ignore. So we'll get into some stuff. I'm actually going to go ahead and start with the Peterson, just to kind of set the table, and then we'll get into the New Interpreter's Bible. Great opening framing for Peterson. His title is Fools Recycle Silliness. We no more give honors to fools than pray for snow in summer or rain during harvest. You have as little to fear from an undeserved curse as from the dart of a wren or the swoop of a swallow. A whip for the racehorse, a tiller for the sailboat, and a stick for the back of fools. Peterson actually did that a little softer than the NRSV does, so wait till you hear that one. Don't respond to the stupidity of a fool. You'll only look foolish yourself. That's the parallel for verse 4, and here comes our parallel for verse 5. Answer a fool in simple terms so he doesn't get a swelled head. So you can, if you caught it, and I'm going to repeat it just so you can hear it, but here's our piece. Don't respond to the stupidity of a fool. You'll only look foolish yourself. Answer a fool in simple terms so he doesn't get a swelled head. Both statements are truisms, but they are also contradictory. One is to ignore, one is to correct, in essence. Peterson's phrase is a little is a little more approachable, I think. You're only asking for trouble when you send a message by a fool. A proverb quoted by fools is limp as a wet noodle. Wow. Putting a fool in a place of honor is like setting a mud brick on a marble column. To ask a moron, wide vocabulary here that Peterson's utilizing in the message. To ask a moron to quote a proverb is like putting a scalpel in the hands of a drunk. Good gravy. Hire a fool or a drunk and you shoot yourself in the foot. Apologies. As a dog eats its own vomit, so fools recycle silliness. How grateful is this guy that he went for fools recycle silliness rather than a dog eats its own vomit. Come on, Eugene. See that man who thinks he's so smart? You can expect far more from a fool than from him. Loafers say, it's dangerous out there. Tigers are prowling the streets, and then pull the covers back over their heads. Just as a door turns on its hinges, so a lazybones turns back over in bed. A shiftless sluggard puts his fork in the pie, but is too lazy to lift it to his mouth. Some very rich imagery from Eugene Peterson today. And well, yeah, it was kind of fun. Now, a few pieces for us. We're going to go ahead and start with our scripture reading from the New Revised Standard first, and then we'll get into that particular. Actually, I'll give you a little pause, and I'll give you that particular pairing of 4 and 5. Like snow in summer or rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a sparrow in its flitting, like a swallow in its flying, an undeserved curse goes nowhere. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Now, 4 and 5. Do not answer fools according to their folly, or you will be a fool yourself. Answer fools according to their folly, or they will be wise in their own eyes. So these contradictory statements. And then an introductory portion, and then we'll get into a couple of specific things. The coherence of this passage is evident from the appearance of the word fool in Hebrew, kesel, I think, in every verse but the second. On a deeper level, the passage uses the problem of interaction with fools to teach about the need to properly read other people, situations, and even oneself. In doing so, it also teaches about the nature of Proverbs and their use. Wise interpretation of Proverbs, of persons, and of circumstances should lead to fitting relations and actions in every area of life. Little bit on the agrarian and agrarian culture, as well as some of the weather references that they made, not related to 4 and 5, but verse 1. Palestine has a warm, dry climate with fall and spring rains. The summer, also the time of harvest, is hot and dry. Rain at that time is such an anomaly that it is a frightful inversion of the cosmic order, a world upside down. It is not fitting. Rain in harvest time is not only an anomaly, but it can also do damage by destroying crops or rotting them. Similarly, the proper order of things is inverted when a fool receives honor. You might have heard the phrase before, and I might goof this up. I think it's make hay while the sun is shining. Get to it when you can do it, so it's not getting messed up. And now some specific commentary on 4 and 5, and then Van Leeuwen's reflection. These verses are a contradictory pair of admonitions that present the problem of fittingness in the most radical way. The contradiction of these verses nearly kept Proverbs out of the Jewish canon of biblical books, but the Talmud argued, and this is a set of teachings and instructions, but the Talmud argued that the admonitions refer to different matters. The solution to the contradiction does lie in this direction. Wisdom does not always mean doing the same thing, even in superficially similar circumstances. Yet the juxtaposition or the comparison of these admonitions drives one to reflect on the limits of human wisdom, for no clue is given to help the reader identify which fool should be ignored and which spoken to. Of two viable courses of action, we do not always know which is fitting. The first verse of the pair gives the standard majority advice for handling of fools, and he also connects that with Matthew 7, verse 6. Since they do not listen, and since they are attached to their folly, to join them in discussion is to be dragged down to their level and to allow them to dictate the terms of the debate. Thus, one becomes like them. Verse 5 gives minority advice. Answer a fool, because sometimes to leave self-deluded fools unanswered does greater damage than would exposing their folly. The practical difficulty of 4 and 5 is knowing whether to speak or to be silent when confronted by a fool. There is indeed a time to be silent and a time to speak, those familiar words from Ecclesiastes. Wisdom is a matter of fittingness and timing. Very intriguing, to the point where I'll repeat it. Wisdom is a matter of fittingness and timing. But here, no clues are given for making the right decision. This general problem is explored more extensively in the Babylonian dialogue of pessimism, in which a wise but cynical slave offers equally plausible reasons to his master for doing or not doing a variety of actions. Funny. While the dialogue concludes in pessimism, Proverbs arrives at a different outcome. I wasn't planning on doing all that, but yeah, it kind of started rolling. Now, this is tell you what, let me go ahead and finish up the scripture because we're going to get into a couple of the things in that commentary. So this is continuing with verse 6 after our two contradictory statements. It is like cutting off one's foot and drinking down violence to send a message by a fool. The legs of a disabled person hang limp, so does a proverb in the mouth of the fool. It is like binding a stone in a sling to give honor to a fool. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that yet. That one's interesting. So it's using that image of the sling, and instead of having the stone being able to be released, you still have it connected to it. Like a thorn bush brandished by the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. Like an archer who wounds everybody is one who hires a passing fool or drunkard. Like a dog that returns to its vomit is a fool who reverts to his folly. Do you see persons wise in their own eyes? There is more hope for fools than for them. The lazy person says, there is a lion in the road, there is a lion in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does a lazy person in bed. The lazy person buries a hand in the dish and is too tired to bring it back to the mouth. Now, our final portions of reflection. Proverbs 26, 1-12 requires that readers interpret the text, themselves, others, and their present world rightly. But it is not true, as some postmodern folk suggest, that everything is interpretation. There can be quite different, equally valid performances of a Beethoven sonata with regard to tempo, dynamics, phrasing, room, acoustics, etc. Yet if Beethoven wrote G sharp, it is not interpretation to play F sharp. It is simply wrong. On the other hand, some interpretations can be note perfect, but all wrong because the reading does not fit the composer's style or spirit, however difficult that may be to explain. Of jazz, they say, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. The all too human conflict of interpretations often arises regarding situations that are ambiguous, that lie on the fringes and margins of things. The conflict also arises when human action or insight requires that we have a right sense of both the whole, a worldview, if you will, and the particulars that lie before us. Wisdom requires that we see reality rightly regarding both the overall patterns of existence and the individual circumstances before us for which we are responsible. So that's it for our first part of Proverbs 26, and we'll be back with you tomorrow as we continue our journey together. Have a great day.